only Christmas tree worth having this year is the Tree of Evolutionary Life, now in its limited edition winter form. Grab this limited time poster now while you can. It depicts every single Pokemon and how they'll be related to each other, including the all-new Melmetal. Using the links below, grab one for yourself or for a friend.
Hey Pokemon Masters, Toby here, and don't worry, this isn't just a regular 50 Easter eggs and hidden references and breakdown, and that's because there's only actually 49 of them. I could stretch them out into 50, but where's the fun in that? There might be a little something extra at the end to make up for the one that I'm missing. But yeah, I played, obviously I've been playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee non-stop. These games are awesome. And of course, as is sort of my job, I have been on the hunt, been on the lookout for any big references and Easter eggs. I'm just going to jump straight into them. Let's go through these. I will try to show as much footage as I have, but I don't have footage for everything. And of course, massive spoiler warning for the game. I'm going to be spoiling the whole game in this video, so if you don't want the game spoiled, now is your chance to look away. Okay, go. And tell me which ones of these are really exciting to you. I'm going to launch with the number one, the one that got me the most excited to do this video. And I'm amazed that I didn't spot it in the when I pre-played the game. Again, that same total humble brag, I got to play the game early at the Pokemon Company headquarters, and this Easter egg and reference was in that video, and I didn't notice. Which is number one. In Professor Oak's lab, in the top right-hand corner, there is a bookshelf, a regular-looking bookshelf, and right on the top of it, there's this little notebook. It has a particular design with a clover on the front of the cover. I can't believe I didn't notice this before. This notebook is the notebook that Professor Oak owns when he's Sammy Oak as a child in Pokemon, the fourth movie, Pokemon Forever. It's the notebook that he draws Pokemon in, and if you don't know who Sammy is, it's Professor Oak from the past, traveling to the future. It's a whole thing, Samuel Oak. And yeah, what an amazing Easter egg. Cool little reference. What does that mean? Is it connected to the real Pokemon, the anime Pokemon verse? Probably not. Number two is another big one. When challenging Lieutenant Surge to a battle, Lieutenant Surge will tell you that Pokemon battles are war. This completely debunks Pokemon theories everywhere that even I subscribe to, which is the idea that the Pokemon War was a real thing. Lieutenant Surge references it, he's a key piece of evidence in that whole puzzle, and they have now changed the dialogue to say that a Pokemon battle is war, which means that there was never a Pokemon War. Lieutenant Surge was literally just referencing Pokemon battling. And now don't I feel stupid. Number three, after you defeat Lieutenant Surge, you get an autograph from him, which of course is the same autograph that we see in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon in the main character's room. Now, whether it's the exact same autograph or a replica, another one of it, we don't know that yet, although there is a Pokemon theory coming out later this week that is going to tackle that idea a little bit further on. But yes, this autograph is a direct connection and reference to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Number four, when you're aboard the SS Anne, when you talk to the old gentleman that used to say that he was a global police officer in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, he now says that he's a member of the International Police. Hot on the tail of Team Rocket. Now, people used to speculate that this character was Looker. That theory has now been debunked. This character is another member, though, of the International Police, the organization that Looker works for. Number five is that the trainers in the Cerulean Gym are actually all named after Misty's sisters from the TV show. Which makes perfect sense because when Misty isn't in the gym in the show, her sisters run the gym. And number six, in Celadon City, after beating Brock, you can meet Brock outside I think he's outside the Game Freak headquarters. And Brock basically just talks about all the beautiful girls who work in the Celadon City gym, which is a complete reference to the anime and Brock's portrayal as a bit of a womanizer or woman-obsessed human. Number seven, in the Cinnabar Island labs, you can find a picture of Professor Fuji. This, of course, is a reference to Mr. Fuji, the Pokemon caretaker in Lavender Town, who used to be a scientist who worked on, supposedly, the Mewtwo project. Which also makes sense because in the Pokemon First movie, Dr. Fuji is the person who clones Mewtwo, so potentially they're all the same character. Number 8, at some point in the story, after encountering Blue, he will give you the Shallow Sable, which is an item, it's a confectionery item that has come from the Kalos region. As well as that, a little bit later on, Blue gives you Mega Stones. Both of these items are very Kalos oriented, so I don't know whether it's suggesting that Blue has already been to Kalos. Interestingly enough, there is a reference to Blue in Pokemon X and Y, and they talk about how this guy couldn't get the Kalos, couldn't get the language down, but he could easily say, smell you later. So whether this is to imply that Blue has already done his travels in Kalos, although that doesn't line up with the timeline, or whether Blue has spent some extra time out there that we don't know about, I don't know, but fun little reference. Number 9, in the Pokemon Power Plant in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, whenever you would encounter a Pokeball, sometimes it would be an item and sometimes it would be a Voltorb. Now they've left a distinction. The upside down Pokeballs are the ones that are Pokemon, but of course because they're upside down, they are Electrode. Because Electrode look like an upside down Pokeball. Number 10, in the Silphco headquarters, there are pictures of various locations in Pokemon. There appears to be the Alolan Archipelago, as well as Spear Pillar and Equatique City's Tin Tower. Number 11, at the very end of the game, when you defeat your rival and beat the champion, Professor Oak tells you something that is so different to Red, Blue, and Yellow. In these games, he tells your rival that your rival was too kind, and that's why you managed to beat him. He wasn't tough enough, he wasn't gritty enough, and this is a complete flip side reverse of what Professor Oak tells your rival in Red, Blue, and Yellow, that the reason that he lost is because he was too arrogant and too powerful and didn't care about his Pokemon. Oak, make up your mind, buddy. Speaking of Oak, number 12, he does say to Blue at some point, now, what's your name again? And Blue says, come on, that joke is never funny. This, of course, is a complete reference to the first generation of games when you get to choose your rival's name, and Oak asks you, this is my grandson. What's his name again? The idea is, it was just a joke. And again, speaking of your rival, number 13, it turns out that Blue never had a Pokedex. In a little bit of flavor dialogue, Oak says that you are the first trainers to have the Pokedex, and that's really cool because when he went on his Pokemon adventure, he used to just scribble on a map the areas that Pokemon were. Which is really bad news for a lot of the Pokemon theories I've done. I actually should do a video how many Pokemon theories I've made could be debunked, because it looks like they've all been written by kids. Not Pokemon scientists, it's not an official encyclopedia. Number 14, of course, after you defeat the game, the Viridian City gym leader is now Blue. Blue has taken over the gym, much like he did in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Pokemon Gold and Silver. And interestingly enough, this was referenced in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with a side quest that mentioned a character called Ace Trainer Arabella. This was one of the gym trainers from Blue's gym in the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gold Silver Crystal. So it looks like the idea of, they were setting up for people to start thinking about the idea of Blue being the gym leader of the Viridian City gym, and after you beat Giovanni, he takes over. Even talks about redecorating, which is exactly what he does for the Gen 2 games. Number 15, Mina. Mina appears in the game. She's one of my favorite characters from the Alola region, if not the whole of Pokemon. I love the design of this character. Mina appears as a much younger character, and there's actually big conflicts here with the Pokemon timeline, because while at a short estimate, the timeline is 10 years long, and at the more accurate, I believe, a 20-year timeline, the timeline is, of course, 20 years from these games, at least generation of games, to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Either way, there becomes a contradiction, because there's no way that this version of Mina is like 9 years old or younger. So if she's at least 10, in a 10-year timeline, by Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon standards, she would be 20, and in a 20-year timeline, she'd be 30. And in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you're not supposed to be a trial captain if you're over 20, so that's something I'm going to look into in my next video. Number 16, this is one you've probably already seen. Upstairs in the top left-hand corner of your bedroom, there is a poster that references the first ever Pokemon battle, which appears in the intro of Pokemon Red and Blue. Number 17, Archer appears. Archer, one of the Team Rocket admins from Pokemon, again from Heart Gold, Soul Silver. They appear as Giovanni's second in command, and that makes sense because they also kind of appeared in Fire Red and Leaf Green. Back then, they were just a Rocket executive using the same kind of team, but it was almost definitely Archer who was heading up the Sevi Island little side quest that went on in Fire Red and Leaf Green. Number 18, outside the Vermilion City gym, there are red and blue barrels. They are also inside the gym, and people thought that this was going to solve the puzzle of the Vermilion City gym, where you have to look inside the barrels, look inside the bins to see where the switches are, and it turns out that's not the case. So in that case, what are they there for? What are they about? Well, they are just a little reference, I think, to Pokemon Red and Blue. Number 19, there is also someone in Vermilion City who seems to be obsessed with either a puppy Pokemon or a cat Pokemon, Arcanine or Persian, depending on the version you're playing. And the version that's obsessed with Persian might be a reference to the Cat Scratch Girl of Kanto, which appears in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, aka your player character's mum. They're obsessed with Meowth, they moved from Kanto, and it seems that there's a lot of ties to your player in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and Vermilion City, including Lieutenant Surge's autograph. I think in your house in Pokemon Sun and Moon, you have a Ditto doll, which appears in the Pokemon Fan Club, which is in this region, as well as there being a Farfetch'd leak. That's in your house in Sun and Moon, and you can trade for Farfetch'd conventionally in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow in Vermilion City. There seems to be a lot of ties. Whether this is a direct reference or not, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at nothing here. Number 20, Giovanni wears a wedding ring. Usually in Giovanni's character art, in every iteration, Giovanni's hand has been in his pocket, so you don't get to see this hand. But now he seems to be wearing a wedding ring, as well as another ring which is supposedly significant of a happy marriage. This could be a reference to another Team Rocket executive, Ariana. Ariana is another one of Team Rocket's higher up executives in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and is theorized to be the mother of Silver, who is Giovanni's son. So this could help tie that theory together. Number 21, the guy who teaches your Pikachu how to surf is in Fuchsia City, and this is relevant for two reasons. Number one is that Fuchsia City is where you got surf in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow in the Safari Zone, which of course no longer exists. And in Pokemon Yellow version, the game that these are the spiritual kind of successors to, in Pokemon Yellow version there used to be a surfing Pikachu minigame where Pikachu would get on a surfboard, and of course the way that you surf in these games is with Pikachu on a surfboard. That was also based south of Fuchsia City. Number 22, in Celadon City there is the Game Freak headquarters, and of course as well as there being notable members of Game Freak staff there are also posters referencing Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow. Oh, and Green. Green is there as well. Number 23, in your bedroom in these games, if you're playing Pokemon Yellow version, there is a Pikachu doll and a book. This same Pikachu doll and book appear in your player's room in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and Pokemon Sun and Moon. Again, more connections, little references, something from my theory coming out later this week. Number 24! You can rebattle the Elite Four in these games, and when you re-challenge Agatha and beat her, she'll talk about how her and Professor Oak used to be rivals, like you and Trace. This is a nice little way to flesh out the relationship between these two characters, which previously we've only really known that they don't really get on anymore, but there used to be some history where they admired each other. Certainly she admired him for being handsome and strong, but now he's all soft and he just studies Pokemon, tinkering with his Pokedex. Well, it turns out the relationship that they had is one of rivals. Although I always secretly hope something a little bit more than that. OTP! Okay, number 25. In this game, you can ride Snorlax. Go Team Snooze. Snorlax is like one of my favorite Pokemon, and the way that you ride Snorlax may well be a reference to My Neighbor Totoro and the way that the characters ride Totoro's stomach, which also is interesting because a lot of people have always said that Snorlax looks like Totoro, so that's a thing. I still haven't seen that movie. I really need to see My Neighbor Totoro. Number 26, we're over halfway there. After you complete the game, you can go to Oak's lab and go on his computer, and you'll see an email going on with someone called Samson. This, of course, is his cousin, Samson Oak of the Alola region. Number 27, in Cerulean City there is the bike shop, but you can no longer buy bikes in these games, because instead you ride on Pokemon. So instead this is a bike collector, and there you can find and learn more about the Mac and Acro bike from the Hoenn region. Number 28, if you surf right from the Vermilion City docks, you will find a truck. This truck, of course, is a reference to the truck that, in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, was theorized to secretly hide Mew underneath it. And sure enough, if you go to the back of the truck and you interact with it, you can find a revive. No Mew though, sadly. Number 29, in the Celadon City game corner, you can find a poster that the Team Rocket grunt stands in front of, and that poster has on it a rainbow as well as a rocket and a Grimer, and I think there's a Coughing on there as well. This, of course, Rainbow Rocket, is a reference to Team Rainbow Rocket, the version of Team Rocket that appears in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Number 30 and 31 lumped together here, depending on whether you're playing, I think it's either depending on whether you're playing Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, or depending on whether you're playing a male or female character. I actually don't know which one it is, but in one version, if you hit the TV screen downstairs, you will see a reference for a movie that will talk about four boys traveling on some railroad tracks together, while in the alternate version it will talk about a girl walking down a road of yellow brick. These of course are references to the movies Stand By Me and The Wizard of Oz. Number 32, also up in your bedroom, you've probably seen this one, there is a calendar that has a sprite on it from the original sprites from the old Pokemon games. But these calendars appear all throughout the region, showing different sprites from those games. Number 33, Master Trainers appear in this game, and I have no doubt that there are more references that I don't know about yet. But the Zubat and Golbat trainers are named West and Keaton, and these are references to the actors who played Batman, Adam West and Michael Keaton. Zubat, Golbat, they're Batmen. Number 34, in Saffron City, there is a house where a young boy will talk about the Mimic Girl being quite cute, or the Copycat Girl. The Copycat Girl lives in a house slightly to the north in Saffron City, and this boy talks about how one day he wants to catch her a Clefairy, or I think give her a Clefairy doll. And this, of course, is a reference to Pokemon Gold and Silver, in which the girl has to move from that house so they can build the train connecting Johto to Kanto. And she loses the Clefairy that her boyfriend got her, which is probably this boy. Number 35, on Cinnabar Island in the underground Pokemon lab, we can now more clearly see that this is the place that Mew was cloned and created Mewtwo, because downstairs there is a cloning test tube that something's tried to break out from the inside. Clearly, it is the origins of Mewtwo. And number 36, this isn't the only legendary reference in the Cinnabar Mansion. In fact, you can find the Master Trainers there for Meltan and Melmetal. And that's interesting because Meltan and Melmetal are said to be made of the element Mercury, which is said to come from the rock Cinnabar Island. Number 37, this is only a small little reference, but the character of Blaine, the hot-headed quizmaster, gives you a whole bunch of little questions that you have to pass, that in order to battle him, but with the last question, all of the answers are correct. This may well be a reference to Kiawe from the Alola region, who has the exact same kind of setup. There's a whole bunch of questions, but the last one, all of the answers are correct before you engage in battle. Number 38, when you rematch Blaine in the postgame, he will express interest in the character of Green. This is because Green is off looking for Mewtwo, and Blaine is supposedly said to be Professor Fuji's brother, making him Blaine Fuji, and was part of the creation of Mewtwo on Cinnabar Island, the place where he's the gym leader. And number 39, when you re-challenge another gym leader, Sabrina, she will say that she can see into the future, and that a trainer as strong as you won't come along for another 3 years. And this is a reference to the player character from Pokemon Gold and Silver, because Gold and Silver are set 3 years after the Kanto games. That really helps you out with the timeline as well, like it's a very solid 3 years, that's when it's going to happen. Number 40, again on Cinnabar Island, and this one, for the life of me, I couldn't find again in the footage when I redid it, but I definitely took note of it when playing. Someone somewhere around Cinnabar Island references the idea that the volcano might explode, and in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the volcano does exactly that. It erupts, causing the whole of Cinnabar Island to change its shape. Number 41, Pikachu and Eevee's new abilities. They can fly and they can surf, conventionally things these Pokemon can't do, except with Pikachu it is a reference to the Pokemon card game and many other medias where we've seen Pikachu flying and surfing before. It's a very common trope for Pikachu. And now for numbers 42 through 47. Yes, I'm counting them all as separate, and I really want to hit that big old 49 number. It was very important to me that I reached that number. In the Celadon game corner, there are of course references to a bunch of Pokemon side games. If you engage with any of the arcade machines, there are references to the Surfing Pikachu minigame, that being from Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Dash with Pokemon being raised into the air on balloons, Pokemon Trozy with lining up 3 Pokemon faces, Pokemon Quest, that's actually not in the Celadon game corner, that's in the Celadon Mart. There's lots of little references and posters to Pokemon Quest, and of course the Pokemon Tournament, which references Pikachu wearing a mask. There's also one that talks about a bunch of Pokemon going to a goal together. I'm not sure which minigame or side game that's referencing, but I suspect it might be Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. But if you've got better thoughts about that, you'll have to let me know. And I guess that makes it that these games and a lot of the Pokemon side games are games that exist in the Pokemon world. They're the games that the Pokemon characters play. Number 48, Green appears in these games in the post-game, and she is searching for Mewtwo, which makes total sense because when she first appears in the manga, she is searching for the Pokemon Mew. So it's very integral and core to her character. She's hunting these legendary Pokemon. Also, I love that her character is back. I just love it. Number 49. In these games, Red also reappears in the post-game as the final challenge, which of course is a reference to the final challenge status that Red has in Pokemon Gold, Silver, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, and Crystal. And his team has changed a little bit. He has an Arcanine and a Machamp now, and this has rotated out other Pokemon in his team, and his team has changed before. In original Gold and Silver, he has Espeon. In Heart Gold, Soul Silver, he has Lapras instead. And now they've decided to separate the starters out. Rather than him having Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard, he just has Venusaur. Blue has Charizard, and Green has Blastoise, and they all have their Mega forms. And the fact that Red has Venusaur is a reference to the manga, in which Red had Bulbasaur as his first starter Pokemon. Well, after Pikachu and Poliwhirl. And finally, okay, number 50, kind of, it's not a real Easter egg, it's just something I'm really annoyed about. In Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, there is a particular bird keeper in the game. Now, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Gold, Silver and Crystal, there is a bird keeper Toby, the person that I am named after, a character that uses 3 Doduo. And the only reason that I remembered that character and decided to name my channel after him is because down the road there was a bird keeper Theo in Olivine City, and Theo is my brother's name, so I thought, oh, bird keeper Toby, Theo, it's us, I'm bird keeper Toby, hence my channel began. Well, in this game, one of the master trainers is called bird keeper Theo. I'm right here, Game Freak. So that's your honorary number 50, not number 50. Actually, if you want a number 50, I have found something after making this video. After defeating the Elite Four, when you rematch Koga, he'll say that he wants to be a good role model for his daughter, and when you beat him, he says he's considering joining the Elite Four. This is of course a reference to the Generation 2 games, in which Koga is no longer the Fuchsia City gym leader, his daughter Janine is, and he joins the Elite Four. These of course are the references that I have picked up on. Which ones did you find the most interesting? Which ones were you like, Toby, that's not a real reference? You're just making stuff up, padding out those numbers. I'm sorry, and I'd love to hear what ones you think I've missed as well, of course, in the comments. There is a big Pokemon theory connecting a lot of these coming on later on this week. I hope you're enjoying Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as much as I have, and of course, I hope you're having a wonderful day, wherever you are. So hi, Pokemon Masters.
A massive shout out goes to my incredible patrons, many of who you can see the name of on screen now. Most of all to the big patrons of the month, Yoni, Sobin, and Xavius. If you want to find out how you can support the channel, please check out the links to Patreon in the description below and get some of those sweet, sweet perks. Thank you.